It's a new year and a new chance for you to make a fresh start with your compliance. We're going to be bringing you a daily tip, strategy, or idea that you can use to improve your program. Here's your host, Tom Fox, the Compliance Evangelist.
We're going to have a quick word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back. What is the best single-author handbook for a best practices compliance program? I would humbly submit to you that it is the Compliance Handbook, 5th edition, by myself, Tom Fox. It's published by LexisNexis, and it's designed to give you information on how to improve your compliance program literally across an entire year. Each entry has 3 key takeaways of things you can do at little or no cost for your compliance program. I'm going to link to it in the show notes, so check out the Compliance Handbook, 5th edition. Day 10, Leadership's Conduct at the Top. The 2022 Monaco Memo emphasized the basic point that the key to every company is culture. The bottom line is that corporate culture matters, and corporate culture that fails to hold individuals accountable or fails to invest in compliance, or worse, that thumbs its nose at compliance, leads to bad results. From the enforcement perspective, the DOJ will be assessing companies for ethical cultures. From the compliance perspective, the ethical tone of a company and accountability all starts at the top, and most specifically, senior management. The 2020 FCPA Resource Guide stated, beyond compliance structures, policies, and procedures, it is important for a company to create and foster a culture of ethics and compliance with the law at all levels of a company. The effectiveness of a compliance program requires high-level commitment by company leadership and understanding the requirements set by the ECCP in this matter. These requirements are more than simply the ubiquitous tone at the top. They focus on the conduct of senior management. The DOJ wants to see the company's senior leadership actually doing compliance. The DOJ asks if company leadership has, through their words and concrete actions, brought the right message of doing business ethically and in compliance to the organization. How does senior management model its behavior on company values? And finally, how is such conduct monitored in an organization? This means you must document corporate decisions where a compliance solution was proposed and rejected. In other words, there is a business justification for moving forward with that action. If this action occurs, how was the compliance risk managed going forward? Similarly, compliance techniques should be used to document, to demonstrate that your compliance function has met the requirements of the final question. Senior management must share these same values through operationalization going forward. I've laid out 5 factors which can be used as guideposts to not only set the right tone, but also the groundwork for senior management to model appropriate behavior and then monitor it going forward. Number 1, the guiding values of the company must make sense and must be clearly communicated by senior management in a variety of settings to the entire workforce. Number 2, the company's leaders must personally be committed and willing to act on those values. This means management must not simply overlook transgressions of top producers. Number 3, a company's systems and structures must support its guiding principles, and these internal systems and structures cannot be overridden by senior management without both justification and board approval. Number 4, a company's values must be integrated into normal channels of management decision-making and reflected in company's critical decisions. Sometimes a company must turn down business if there are too many red flags present or engaged in such behavior. The company's values and ethics will be violated. And number 5, managers must be empowered to make ethically sound decisions on a day-to-day basis. This means senior management must fully support and must back up such decisions. I once described the role of a CEO of his role in compliance, and he looked up at me and he said, "Oh, I must be the compliance ambassador." And I said, "That's it. That's exactly what you are. You're the company's ambassador for compliance going forward. If you can get your CEO and your senior management to be ambassadors for compliance, to talk about compliance in town halls, to talk about compliance in meetings, and then more importantly, to model that behavior throughout the organization. Then you have a real chance, I think, of having senior management taking an active role and meeting these requirements set by the Department of Justice going forward. So what are today's 3 key takeaways? Number 1, senior management must actually do compliance, not simply talk the talk of compliance, but must also walk the walk of compliance. Number 2, the DOJ is actively assessing corporate culture, doing investigations, and this includes how your senior management is actually doing compliance. And number 3, think about your CEO as your Chief Compliance Ambassador. I hope you would join me tomorrow for day 11, where we take up taking tone down through an organization. Thank you for listening to this episode of 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program. 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program is a part of the Compliance Podcast Network. If you'd like more information on any of the topics of this month's series, 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program, check out The Compliance Handbook 5th edition, available from LexisNexis. You can check it out at lexisnexis.com/Fox. I know you will find it useful and enjoy it. Thanks so much for listening.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.